It is the Jesse Kelly Show, another hour of the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I hope you are putting a smile on your face. We're going to talk about this telecom threat from the UN, completely unnoticed by most people, and we're going to discuss it here in a few. We'll get to the world of make-believe and everything else, but I promised you a bunch of emails today. I'm way behind. Jesse at jessekellyshow.com. Let's dig into it. Jesse, please bring back more awareness around the lack of prosecutions and Bondi's arrest counter from Fox News appearances. We need that tracker back. Well, I know you saw what happened today, or at least I think you saw what happened today. This was the news.
Three sources familiar tell MSNBC former FBI Director James Comey is expected to be indicted in the coming days. The full extent of the charges being prepared against Comey is unclear. Joining us now, MSNBC Justice and Intelligence correspondent.
The rumor is they're going to indict him for lying to Congress. It's a start, okay? It's not near enough. I'm not going to get into it again because I get into it a lot. We have to have Pam Bondi perform now. We must have it. Donald Trump cannot track down and break up the communist networks in this country. J.D. Vance cannot. Marco Rubio cannot. They don't have the rule. They don't have the authority. That's not the role they have to play. That rests solely in the office of the top law enforcement officer in the country, the Attorney General Pam Bondi. She must get off the podcasts, get off Fox News, and start sending people to prison. That's government people. That's James Comey. That's John Brennan. Start breaking up the communist terror cells across the country. I am not interested in her latest soundbite. And by the way, she screws those up all the time. Anyway, her mouth walking her into trouble. Then she has to walk it back the next day. Trump has to defend her. If Pam Bondi is not up to this task, Donald Trump must make the decision to fire her and find another one. I know that's uncomfortable and that's easy to say. We don't have time. We just don't have time. The work they have to do is too important. There's a lot of work to do. Dear AC Sauce Boss, my wife and I own a small restaurant in the Colorado Mountains. Our most popular menu item is our smash burgers. I'm thinking about adding the world-famous Jesse Kelly burger to our menu. Since our burgers are thin with a beautiful brown crust, ooh, yeah, I figure your burger would be a great addition since that's how you demand your burgers be cooked. I have two issues, though. You say use Tabasco Chipotle. I'm sorry to inform you the company is another woke commie company. Trust me, look up Tabasco and ESG DEI. That saddens me a great deal. I had no idea about that because I believe it's a Louisiana company. That just sucks. That sucks. Anyway, number two, can I call it a Jesse Kelly burger or is there some sort of copyright or patent? Will you sue me if I use your name? No. There's no copyright or patent. And even if there was, I'm not going to sue you. I don't care. Call it a Jesse Kelly burger. I don't care, man. I put the recipe in the back of the book. You realize the Jesse Kelly burger recipe is the last page of the book I wrote? A lot of people don't know it because no one flips to the last page. It's just a bunch of blank pages and you close the book when it's done. The last page is the recipe. Call it a Jesse Kelly burger. I don't care. But seriously, I love your show. And actually, I shouldn't say I don't care. I'm flattered. Thanks. Seriously, I love your show. I'm thankful there are people like you fighting the evil people who want to destroy our country. Thank you for your service. Says I shouldn't use his name. And yeah, I definitely won't, buddy. Jesse, I found your show on 9:10 a.m. in Detroit. I love it. Thanks. I love the length of this email. I'm glad you found it. Jesse, or he says, sir, Chris wants you to do the history show on Malta. Yeah, the siege of Malta. He is wrong, like usual. The Rhodesian Bush War is very interesting and more relevant to today. For a very good read, go get the book A Handful of Hard Men about the Rhodesian SAS. I promise it's not a gay novel. I am going to get to the Rhodesian Bush War as well. I'm not going to dismiss one of the two. It was just what one was going to be next. And you should know that Ob is out of town. She's doing like some missionary stuff. She's out of town, though. So last night, while Ob is feeding orphans and doing stuff like that, I sat around and ate pizza with the boys. I then watched baseball. And as soon as I was done watching baseball, I began my research on the Siege of Malta. So last night it began. I am not near ready to bring you a history episode on it. It's not going to start tomorrow, so do not get your hopes up. All right? Jesse, did you know if you he's talking about Kraft Mac. Did you know if you double the butter and forego the milk, the Kraft Mac is a superior product in every way? Love the show and white trash on. P.S. My superior lady was mortified when I added weenies. His name is Brian. I always put a dab of milk. Double the butter in Kraft Mac is a must. If you put only what the recipe calls for, it's garbage. And what's terrible is, you know how healthy Ob is? Ob doesn't make the boys Kraft Mac ever. Like, she would prefer to have something homemade and from scratch, kind of healthier and all that other stuff. And I love that, honestly. It's wonderful to have a woman like that. But when she does make them Kraft Mac, which is the rarest thing in the world, when they beg and beg and beg and she makes it, they'll tell me, Dad, it's not as good as yours. Because she won't double the butter because it's bad for you, right? No. You always double the butter, a little dab of milk, and add wieners. It's headache free. You throw a little pot right by the Kraft Mac pot, and you throw 2, depending on how much you're making, throw 2 wieners in there. And it only takes 2-3 minutes to boil. You pull them out, slice real quick, dump the weenie in there. Mac and weenies is as hearty and delicious a meal. What, Chris? What? Why not ground up sausage? I'm not a chef, Chris. Okay, I just want to put some mac and weenies in there. Okay, don't try to edit my recipes. Okay, you can't even eat sausage. You're Jewish. Why are you? No. You don't get to have input. You don't get. Look, add Hebrew Nationals to yours, Chris. All right, add Hebrew Nationals to yours. All right. So this story, it didn't get reported on, but I promised you we would talk a little bit about Al Qaeda and a little bit about the telecommunications thing at the UN. And I'm going to try to be very, very, very careful with what I say because I don't want to freak you out at all. Okay, I'm going to try to be very careful with what I say, but I'm going to tell you things that I've heard, all right? So, Al Qaeda, you know who Al Qaeda is. You are well aware. They're the ones responsible for 9/11, Islamic terrorist group. You got all that. There has been chatter, if you will. Chatter, including, in case you're wondering about the chatter, publicly, if you'd like to go read up a little bit on what I'm about to talk about, the director of the United States National Counterterrorism Center, his name is Joe Kent. He's a great guy. I've had him on the show before. Great dude. Former Green Beret. He's talked about this openly. There has been a lot of chatter that Al Qaeda is planning something. And I know that's vague, and I'm not trying to freak you out. So just stay with me, and I'm going to tell you what I know, okay? Or what I've heard. Not what I know. What I've heard. What I've heard is they have flooded into this country, courtesy of Joe Biden's open border, right? Open border is a national security threat. They flooded into this country. They are in every major U.S. city. They are planning, hopefully it can be stopped and broken up. They are planning some sort of an attack on as many soft targets as they can find. It's not just the initial attack that the chatter is talking about. It's the secondary attacks. You know how the secondary attacks are a very real thing in terrorism. In Iraq, you know, they would set off an IED, and then they'd wait for ambulances and everyone else to show up, and they'd set off a secondary, the secondary attack. The secondary attack phase of this, according to the chatter, is going to be things like hospitals. They have become aware of the mass procurement. They're purchasing first responder uniforms. Police uniforms, medical worker uniforms, to create additional confusion. I again want to stress, don't change how you live your life. I am not trying to freak you out. I don't do that. I'm not trying to do that. I did, however, feel obligated to bring awareness of this to you, that the threat of jihadi terror, once it's gone enough time without a terror attack, we tend to think they're done. It's gone away. Yeah, it's been since the Obama years since we saw a lot of that going on in our country. That's back when ISIS was inspiring a lot of that on the internet, surprise, surprise, in other places. I just wanted you to be aware that, and they're already talking about cities like New York, Los Angeles, Houston, where I live, that there could be something bad on the horizon. Now, they are aware of it, right? Our National Counterterrorism Center is talking about it. They're aware of it. I'm sure they're tracking everything down to try to stop it before it happens. But I wanted to tell you about it in case the worst happens, okay? All right. Now, I want to combine that with something that happened around the United Nations yesterday in New York City, something I find very interesting. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful Wednesday. You can email us, jesse@jessekellyshow.com. 10 minutes from now, North Korea takes on Rwanda in an amazing second-round matchup in our crappiest country in the world tournament. But I want to combine what I just talked about, and maybe I shouldn't combine it, but I talked about the al-Qaeda threat, multiple U.S. cities, first responder uniforms that there's a lot of chatter about. I want to combine it with this story. The headline is, Secret Service shuts down massive telecom threat near the Trump UN speech. Okay? Here's just a couple quotes from the article. This protective intelligence investigation led to the discovery of more than 300 co-located SIM servers and 100,000 SIM cards across multiple sites. Where were these sites? All these sites were located within 35 miles of the United Nations building, where not only Donald Trump goes, leaders from around the world go. Let's dig into that a little bit more, because that's a little vague. Early analysis indicates cellular communications between nation-state threat actors and individuals that are known to federal law enforcement. The agency noted that the devices could be used to disable cell phone towers, enable denial of service attacks, and facilitate anonymous encrypted communication between threat actors and criminal networks. I'm not going to sit here and explain this to you in detail because I don't know. A lot of this is technological stuff that is well beyond me. But I do know this. What if they could shut down all the cell phone towers in your area combined with a terrorist attack or terrorist attacks? What if there are 5 terrorist attacks in your town and they are able to shut down cell phone towers? If they're able to disrupt communications? We have to be vigilant. I'm not asking you to be paranoid, but that's very real. 100,000 SIM cards within 35 miles of the United Nations. Somebody was planning something. Is that the only place that's happening? I don't know. But I'm hearing more and more chatter, and I'm worried about it. All right, whatever. Let's do some emails. I don't want to spend all day on this. Dear Bronco, King of the Robes. Daggone right. Love you, Cozy Earth. Are we done with the crappiest country in the world bracket? It feels like the next one we have to do is in your wheelhouse. Food. His name is Bradley. He says we could do cheese sticks and burgers and things like that. We can't do a tournament every week, okay? Are we going to do other tournaments? Probably at some point in time, but it has to be something we're truly passionate about. I have a deep, deep love of making fun of horrible places. Part of that love comes from the fact that the communists want us to believe that America is the horrible place and that everywhere else around the world is lovely. And in fact, those people should all be able to come here. It's that kind of thinking inspired things like this.
It's the 2025 crappiest country in the world competition. Tonight's matchup is between North Korea and Rwanda. Brought to you by Nuclear Weight Loss. Try our starvation diet.
And remember that brief period of time where we took voicemails? Turned out that we didn't like it, but there was one in particular that really inspired the whole thing when I was talking about Haiti. Remember this?
Mr. Kelly, thank you for your work, but as you refer to Haitians going home to eat each other, they are not cannibals. Please watch your words. Educate yourself more on other cultures because they're beautiful people. Their country is just riddled with corruption. Okay? Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
That stupid way of thinking inspires tournaments. That's what inspires tournaments. Beautiful cultures, beautiful people. The devil-worshipping voodoo culture. The leader of the country is called barbecue because he eats people. Don't tell me beautiful cultures. Some cultures are garbage, and Haitian culture is garbage. Now, the Dominican Republic, they share an island with Haiti. Now, that's a cool culture. Those are cool people. That's totally different. But, yeah, don't tell me Haiti's a beautiful culture. Oh, they're beautiful people. Gosh, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Anyway, we should do that crappiest country in the world tournament in a moment. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful, fantastic Wednesday. And look, it may be fantastic for you. It may be fantastic for me. But things aren't very fantastic in North Korea. And things are not very fantastic in Rwanda. We have an obligation for truth on this show. As a journalist,
It's journalist Jesse.
there's just no one better.
We love Jesse. He's the best.
Jesse, please kiss my baby.
Jesse, 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 Jesse.
As journalists, we owe you the truth. And what is the truth about the crappiest country on the planet? They're not all equal. Some countries are great, and some countries are hot, stinky garbage. We've been doing this tournament for a week or two now. We're now in the second round, and Rwanda kind of squeaked by in the first round. And it's one of those things where I don't want to handicap it ahead of time or give the game away. They're really going up against a juggernaut in the second round. So let's introduce the contenders.
It's the 2025 crappiest country in the world competition. Tonight's matchup is between North Korea and Rwanda. Brought to you by Nuclear Weight Loss. Try our starvation diet.
I should warn Rwanda and North Korea right now, though, the winner of this round has to face Haiti in the next round. And I don't know who's going to win, but Haiti's going to land some punches. That's for sure. Let's recap. Tell us about Rwanda, me. Rwanda. I'm actually not sure Rwanda is as deserving as you seem to think to move on in the tournament. I'll go ahead and tell you right now, they got 50% of the show vote. 57%. But Rwanda's only level 2 out of level 4 on the State Department Travel Advisory. As per usual, there are areas that are level 4. Rwanda has kind of cleaned up its act, meaning they get a lot of refugees from the other war-torn African hellholes. They go into Rwanda. Poverty is still a massive problem. 40% of the people live below the poverty line. When people think of Rwanda, they tend to think of the 1994 genocidal civil war where two different tribes who've hated each other forever started, well, one of them did most of the slaughtering. 1 million men dead, many of them done by machete, which is horrific. It was oftentimes neighbors and co-workers chopping each other to bits. It was one of those civil wars. Oh, look, civil wars are always terrible. This is one of the uglier ones ever. 1 million men dead. Something like 500,000 women raped. Just an awful, awful state of affairs. But to their credit, Rwanda seems to have kind of come out of this whole thing. I will say, if we have to really hammer them hard, 2/3 of their parliament is women, so they're on some hard times now. That was Rwanda. Rwanda goes up against tournament favorite, in my opinion, North Korea. North Korea, I don't want to bias anybody. I don't want to bias myself. North Korea could easily win the whole thing. They could run the table and win the entire thing. They are level 4 on the State Department travel advisory. 60% live in absolute poverty. We all know what a concentration camp is due to all the coverage and books and things that have been written about World War II and the Holocaust of Jewish people. We all know what a concentration camp entails. And we often say to ourselves things like, never again, this can never be allowed to happen again. It's happening right now. In North Korea, they have concentration camps, plural, that are as bad as anything that happened in World War II. The conditions are so horrific around these camps. They have super electrified fences around them, and prisoners routinely run and throw themselves onto the electric fence, preferring death rather than continue to starve to death. How about torture? Let's discuss that. North Korea has a real specialty when it comes to torture. Oftentimes, it's water torture. Oh, and I should note, when you're being tortured, North Korea will arrest your entire family, oftentimes, and do it to everybody. So it's something the whole family gets to enjoy as they force water down your throat and then step on your stomach. They jam needles underneath your fingernails, and all the way to just hanging you upside down and then beating you senseless. You have no rights, no freedom of speech. There is a strict class system where you can't advance beyond the lower classes at all. By the way, there's slavery. Did you think we were past that time? The North Korean government, because people have no rights and they have no guns, they will just show up at your house and yank you out and turn you into an uncompensated worker, which is, slang for slavery, in one of their mines or camps or somewhere else. You don't have to have done anything wrong whatsoever to get conscripted as a slave. They do this to their own people. If I have to give them credit for something, though, there's no violent crime to speak of whatsoever because all the criminals are already dead, or, to be honest, they're all working for the government. Yeah, this one really wasn't close. North Korea got 65% of the vote. I'm shocked they didn't get 95% of the vote. I was surprised Rwanda got past the first round at all. But man, oh man, this round may not have been a close competition. Who wins between North Korea and Haiti? They are taking on each other in the next round. But hey, before I forget, credit where it's due. Congratulations, North Korea. You did it again. You want a bit of good news before we talk about the world of make-believe? You want a bit of good news? There's a girl, 12-year-old girl named Sophia. She was part of that attack in Minneapolis where that demon went and shot up mass, when the kids are worshiping God. She was part of that attack, and she was shot in the head during that attack. That's a death sentence most of the time. She's recovering. She is recovering. She's actually moved from acute care to an inpatient rehabilitation program. Keep this young lady in your prayers. That is wonderful. All right. God can do miracles. That is wonderful. Put a smile on your face. Here's something else to put a smile on your face, because we're about to get to a couple ugly things before we do emails. GOP early voting surge narrows Democrat advantage in key battleground states. New Jersey, Las Vegas, on and on it goes. The Republican Party is surging because the Democrat Party is drowning. This has been a long time coming in this country. The Democrat Party finally took it way too far. The people are sick of it. They don't want tranny insanity. They don't want open borders. They don't want attacks on ICE agents. They don't want political assassinations. And that is what the Democrat Party has become. And it is being rejected, not just by you. You already knew what they were, and you were already rejecting it. It is being rejected by the normies. And what else is happening is people are starting to get more aggressive politically and more involved politically. You see more voter registration drives now than you have ever seen before in this country. More churches are stepping up and registering voters, as churches definitely should do. None of this, I don't want to get political crap. Go register voters. There's nothing political about registering voters. You're just registering people to vote. Okay? Perfectly legal. All right. The world of make-believe, I got a couple doozies for you. It is the Jesse Kelly Show on a wonderful Wednesday. Remember, if you miss any part of the show, you can download the whole thing on iHeart, Spotify, iTunes. I promise you I'm going to get to a bunch of your emails next hour. I just want to talk again briefly about the world of make-believe Democrats live in. It's part of what has made them murderous. It's part of what has made them so insane. They believe so many things that are simply not real, and that world is created for them by the most part by Democrats and the media. Democrats in the media. Democrat politicians, I should say, and the media. They do this over and over and over again. Here's a couple great examples of it. This is NBC News. I'm not just talking about some traditional far-left kooky thing. I know NBC is, but normal people think NBC may be biased, but there's some form of the truth. This is a direct quote from NBC News. ICE agents held a 5-year-old autistic girl outside her Massachusetts home to pressure her father to surrender to authorities last week, according to the girl's family. NBC News repeated that. You want to know the truth? This is from Will Ricardella. I don't know how to say his name. The father, a criminal illegal alien, fled, flipped off the agents, and abandoned his 5-year-old in the car. That's not bias. That's an outright lie. An outright lie that turns your liberal Aunt Peggy into a murderous demon. An outright lie. They tell big, gigantic lies, and the people who only exist in that world. You read the Washington Post, you watch NBC, you think you're informed. Even if you know you're getting news that's slightly biased, you think you are somehow informed, but you reside in a world that is not real. It's just not real. And they do this all the time, and it doesn't matter how easily verifiable the lies are. Here's James Clyburn.
Well, I don't think they're the same, simply because...
By the way, he's talking about the censorship. We're going to get to that in a moment. The censorship of the Biden regime. He was asked about, hey, well, Biden did all this censorship. Here's Clyburn.
Well, I don't think they're the same, simply because Biden, if any of this took place, these weren't jokes. This wasn't a TV show. This was a pandemic. And we didn't need to have misinformation going out about this pandemic. There was enough coming from the president at the time. Put Clorox in your veins?
Put Clorox in your veins. Let me ask you, has the liberal Aunt Peggy in your life ever said that? Trump told me to inject bleach. Have you ever seen that? Anyone ever said it to you? Ever seen it posted on social media? It's funny because what he said is actually on video. There's audio of it. Your liberal Aunt Peggy believes all the way that Trump said to inject bleach because she lives in a world of make-believe. Here's what Trump said.
We hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do, either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that, too. Sounds interesting.
We'll get the right folks who could.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
That's the press conference. That's the audio. And the lies are so widespread, they come from the highest possible levels. This was President Joe Biden.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is about the past and serving himself. This is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember, during the pandemic, Donald Trump told us to inject ourselves with bleach. He said there's nothing to worry about if you do that.
Big, gigantic, easily verifiable lies. And because they are so shameless, because they don't share your moral framework at all, they just say it over and over and over and over and over again. And these lies have turned Democrats into violent demons. That's the result of these lies. Endless lies, over and over and over again, repeating the same thing.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. This is not the 1930s.
Secret police who are masked, who are intimidating, who are scaring people. These Gestapo-like tactics.
This is Gestapo-like behavior.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets.
When you compare the old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, it does look like a Gestapo operation.
You posted on social media that, quote, ICE is acting like a terrorist force.
ICE agents, they are coming and kidnapping and disappearing people on the streets of the United States.
But this terror campaign of having masked people rolling up in vans, but we also have to talk about the agents themselves that are carrying this out. If you have any decency, quit now. Because just doing what you were told has been the justification for some of the worst horrors and crimes against humanity.
Masked agents of the state in unmarked vehicles are terrorizing communities. They are disappearing people.
One has to assume they're hiding something, or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
If everything is legitimate and proper, why are you wearing masks to hide your face?
Not look like America. We are going to require them to show their faces. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have anything to hide.
Of course, you're not stupid. You know why Democrats want them to show their faces, so they can hurt them. It's the same reason they want you disarmed. It has nothing to do with crime or the kids. They want to hurt you. These are violent people who have programmed each other, and they've programmed their base to believe you're a Nazi. They want you unmasked and disarmed so they can hurt you. And the ones that it doesn't turn violent, it mentally shatters. I have some audio for you that is, honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to make fun of it. It's just sad. I'll play it next.